Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I am Jillian Barry, and today's video is going to be absolutely awesome. We have the juice feaster in the house. We have Brett. He is a juicing expert. He actually did a 105-day juice cleanse. He lost so much weight and totally transformed his life. So he knows so much about juicing, more than anyone I can even think of. We're going to go over so many things in this, including his story and answering a lot of juicing questions you guys have as well. So you're going to want to stick around to the end. It's going to be a really good one. Give this video a big thumbs up right now and let's get right into it. Hey, Brett, how's it going?
Hey, Jillian, I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm amazing. I've had lots of juice today and I feel
Awesome.
amazing. I'm extra high vibe.
Yeah, that's what it
Yeah,
does. It electrifies for sure.
it does. And even if people don't want to do like a full juice cleanse, just even adding in like a green juice a day does so much for you, right?
Totally concentrates nutrition. It's easy to absorb, easy to digest, tons of, enzymes and minerals. It's just a great, no matter what your dietary intake lifestyle is like, adding in a green juice or something like that daily is a great thing.
Yeah, 100%. And it can really keep you on track with your health. I feel like having a green juice earlier in the day. So let's
Totally.
get into it. Like, I really want to get into your story. You had an amazing transformation on a very long term juice fast, 105 days. So I want to find out first what drew you to doing a juice cleanse? Like, what made you do it? And then how was the experience and what benefits did you experience?
Yeah, well, it's like a lot of people, I came to this whole juicing lifestyle with health problems. And it was one of those things that I grew up in the Midwest of the United States. I grew up a farm kid, standard American diet, standard Western diet, really up until my mid 40s, and was generally a very healthy person. Didn't really have too many problems growing up or even through my 20s and 30s. But as I started getting into my late 30s, things started to catch up with me. The aches, the pains, the cholesterol, the blood pressure, the weight, the mood, sleeping not very well. Just all these things start to, come on, these symptoms of something being wrong. And
Mm-hmm.
really, it came to a head in 2013, 2014. I was beginning to get strep throat and bronchitis and like get so sick that like I couldn't breathe. My chest would just be sharp pains, sharp coughing pains, and sore throat. I would go to the med check, go to the doctor. They'd give me an antibiotic, probably not for the right thing. And I was just on this hamster wheel of poor healthy habits, health lifestyle. It was just kind of rock bottom. And it all came to a head in 2014 when I got a case of shingles, and just everything came to a head. I was laying on my back for a couple of weeks, and I said to myself, I've either got to make the change and lead the rest of my life in a healthy, vibrant manner, or not. And so I made that decision at that point in time. My wife and I, in August of 2014, went vegan. That was kind of our first step, and immediately saw some changes. Aches and pains started going away. The blood pressure and cholesterol started coming down. I was getting sick less. I was losing a little bit of weight. My mood was better. I was sleeping better, but I knew there was more. So I kind of led this whole food plant-based lifestyle for a few years until 2017. And I injured my leg at work and developed this kind of a bruise that didn't go away on my leg. And I was like, there's more here. There's more. There's a next level that I used to have when I was younger that I needed to get back at. So I drug out my old Champion juicer. I bought a Champion juicer in like 1996. And like a lot of people, used it for a while and shelved it. So I drug that antique back out, put it on the counter, and just started putting produce through it. I didn't really know what I was doing, but just started putting, greens and celery and herbs and fruits and whatever I could find. And in a couple of weeks, this lump that had been there for months on my leg went away, like
Wow.
just completely dissolved, went away. And I was like, okay, I'm on to something. Let's dig into this. Let's do more than just the juice a day. Let's really start amping up the volume and digging into to the different types of ingredients and kind of make this more of a medicinal approach. And that's how Juice Feaster was born. In 2018, I started out January 1st and embarked on a 30-day juice feast. And that was so transformational to me, Jillian, that my wife was done with our business that we were running at the time. We were in the alcohol industry. You can
Wow.
imagine that. Yeah.
Wow.
We actually owned and operated a winery for 14 years. But during this 2018 juice feast, it was so transformational to me that I decided I no longer wanted to be in this industry, and I wanted to completely upend my life and get out of that industry and begin helping people to feel like I was feeling and what I knew was possible for others to feel that way. So that's how Juice Feaster was born.
Wow, incredible. What a story. I freaking love it. So before we get into like all the juicing benefits, all this stuff, I just want to ask, like, I know giving up alcohol can be hard for a lot of people. I gave it up.
Sure.
I used to drink every day for 10 years. It's one of the best things I ever have done is give it up.
Yeah, for sure.
And so what have like how different do you feel now off the alcohol versus like how you felt as somebody who drank? Like, because I know people watching, for a lot of people, they think like I could never give that up, right? But
Yeah.
maybe they want to. Like, how
Yeah.
is your life different now off of alcohol versus before?
It's tremendously different. And, I like to say we ran this business making wine for 15 years, and I drank enough in that 15 years, to equate to what most people would probably drink in 45. I was just immersed in it,
Yeah.
dinner parties and tastings and running a
Mhm.
retail shop. And so I don't think it's kind of like the adage about a frog boiling in water, just little by little, as the water starts out being slightly tepid, and it just gets hotter and hotter and hotter. And it really was boiling me from the inside out. And so as I removed that first 30-day juice feast, I was like, wow, this is what it feels like to feel good again.
Wow.
I think my health condition was so bad that when I drank, it actually made me kind of falsely feel better. It was numbing the
Mhm.
pain that I was feeling mentally, physically, spiritually. And so when I got rid of it and there was enough time of it being out of my system to actually begin to feel like a real human again, I was like, yes, this is what has to continue. And it took me some time. I didn't, I went that whole 30 days, but I was still in the industry. And so I still drank a little bit and just gradually worked my way off of it. By mid 2019, I was completely free of it. And I used to think about drinking, like you mentioned. I used to think about drinking every day. If I went out to a restaurant, I was considering what my drink was going to be. I could go a few days without it and not really have any problems per se. But I was always looking forward to that next opportunity to consume some. And so now I don't even think about it. There's this neural pathway that we rewire when we get off of it long enough to feel the feelings of not needing it anymore. And it's amazing. It's worth it. Anyone out there considering it, it's amazing.
Incredible. Way to go. And do you think it's
Yeah.
easier
Thank
for
you.
people? Do you think it's easier for people to give up addictions, whether it's alcohol, drugs, or even certain food addictions by going on to a juice cleanse? Do you think it makes
I
it
think it
easier?
helps. I
Mhm.
think it helps. I think you're coupling multiple things together and you're hyper focused on your lifestyle during that period of time. So I think it really helps. What I caution people a lot of times from just jumping right into a longer juice fast or juice cleanse is that it can be rather shocking to the system. Specifically coming from a Western diet or standard American diet, if you flip that switch and go directly to all juice, it's going to shock the heck out of your system. So I recommend people kind of begin to add, like you were talking about, adding in a juice a day just to kind of get the system used to it and work on transitioning. But man, once you can get to that point to do a longer cleanse, it really allows you to focus on all those habits, be it your drug addiction you might have, or cigarettes, or coffee. Or coffee was another tough one for me. I absolutely loved coffee. I loved the ritual of it, the smell of it,
Me too.
the feeling of it, all these things. And here again, it's a neural pathway. We've got to get off of it. We've got to feel what it feels to feel normal and good without it, and energized without it. And you're on. At that point, you're good to go.
And you wake up so awake and you're not crashing. It's just like, it's a better life, even though when you're in it, you don't realize it. I loved coffee too. Well, I want to talk about the benefits. So when you did your juice cleanse, like what were all the benefits you experienced? How much weight did you lose? And yeah.
So weight loss really wasn't my main goal, but I lost about 25 pounds. And
Wow.
that was in that first 30-day juice feast. So it was just about a pound a day.
Mm-hmm.
And, it didn't really change me too much. I wasn't what I would have considered to look at an obese person, but if you looked at, say, a BMI chart, I was on that par with obesity. And so from a health perspective, from a visual perspective, I may not have looked like it, but from a health perspective, I certainly was. So weight loss was certainly one key attribute. Mood and energy, just now having a nice, calm, even, buzzing energy all day long without those highs and lows and crashes. A huge, huge change for me there. I used to throw my back out all the time, and it would go out for like 3 or 4 days at a time where I would just seize up and just, if you moved the wrong way, you would get this sharp pain in your back.
Oh,
All of this is gone, like joint pain, knee pain, ankle pain. Just the benefits are off the charts in terms of the things that I experience. My sleep, I go to bed early, very consistently. I wake up on my own without an alarm clock, ready to roll, hit the ground, and just create and enjoy life to the fullest. So
yeah.
many benefits. All of my numbers, blood test wise, I go once a year and have a Western medicine doctor take a look at my blood. And my doctor this past year, I'm about to turn 50. I turned 50 next February. And my doctor said, I don't know what you're doing, but keep doing it. You have better blood numbers than most of my 20-year-old patients. Your fitness is good. Everything's great. Just keep doing what you're doing. And so just total health changed for me. Everything changed for me, for sure.
And this started with the juice cleansing, right?
It did. Well, really it started when I went plant-based back in 2014, but it went next level. It went next level then when I started incorporating juice as a consistent daily habit.
Yeah. And you're thriving raw vegan now and with the juicing, and you look young. Like even when you were referencing mid 40s, I was thinking, what? He looks like he's in his 30s.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And it's a testament to ease of digestion. It's a low metabolic lifestyle. So it doesn't take a lot of energy to digest this stuff. It's easy in, it's easy out. It's chock full of nutrition. It's the most concentrated form of nutrition that we can get in an easily absorbable, easily digestible format. So our body doesn't have to struggle to move the stuff through our system. It's natural. It's normal. It's what we're designed to eat, in my opinion. So I think it's the best way for sure.
Mm-hmm. And in your opinion, because you're an expert, and I can link your stuff down below. I think you do coaching and everything too, right? Am I right?
I do a little bit. Yeah. Not as much
Yeah.
coaching as I do just kind of turning people on to the lifestyle and inspiring people on creating recipes that they can make, recommending juicers. That's probably one of my biggest things is testing, reviewing, and recommending juicers for folks to get started with. So yeah.
I'll link everything down below if anybody's interested, and everybody go follow Brett as well. And I'm wondering, so as far as like how to do a proper juice cleanse, because I feel like you know so much, you were so successful to do 105 days and you've been so passionate about this over the years and learned so much. So as far as instructing somebody like how to do a proper juice cleanse, how much do you think they should drink? Like how much did you drink on yours? And like maybe what are your thoughts around like fruit juices versus greens, stuff like that?
Yeah. Great question. I think oftentimes people think about a juice fast, or they've maybe tried one in the past or seen them available for purchase at a juice bar or online. When I look at a lot of those juice cleanses, they're very sufficient in the amount of calories that are involved in them. And so the biggest thing that I see people do, what I feel like is incorrectly, is not getting enough calories on a juice fast or a juice cleanse. My rule of thumb is to call it a feast and not a fast, and get as many calories as you would normally be getting in your normal daily lifestyle on solid food, just getting it from juices. So for me, with my activity levels, that's between 2,000 and 3,000 calories of juice. And so depending upon the types of juices I'm drinking, it can be anywhere from 4 to 7 liters of juice. And it's different. Like a liter of cucumber juice is 200 calories versus a liter of grape juice, which is 600 calories. So
and I have to ask you, Sorry to interrupt, but before I forget,
No,
how do
yeah.
you track juicing calories? People always ask me that. Like, is there an app or somewhere you recommend where they can track for juicing calories?
Yeah. I use Chronometer. That's the app that I use, and it's easy to track mono juices like watermelon, grape juice, orange juice, grapefruit juice, celery juice. They have numbers for those singular juices. It's
Hmm.
when you start making, multiple ingredient recipes that it's a little more difficult to track. So I kind of estimate the green juices to be, 200 to 300 calories, depending upon how many apples or oranges are in them. But from there, it's like pineapple juice is 450 calories, or grape juice is 600 calories, and you can begin to, loosely approximate where you're at.
Hmm.
I don't get obsessive about tracking the calories, but if I'm hungry, I have another juice. I don't want to restrict. And even if you just restrict a little bit, if you're doing a longer cleanse, this can add up over time. And the next thing you know, you're 1,000 calories short, 2,000 calories short. You're getting hungry. You're starting to think about, binging
Hmm.
on things that you don't want to be part of your plan. And so that's what we want to avoid. We want to keep you leveled up, but we want to remove that solid food so that your system can empty out. Your digestive system gets a break, your organs get a break, you're compounding and concentrating nutrition. All the while, you're still energized and you can carry out life's daily rigors, whether you're working, you've got a family, you're exercising, all these things you can still do while you're on a juice cleanse. That's the
Yeah.
secret for me. I
And that's
tried
with,
some
go ahead.
Yeah, I tried some early on, even before I got into this lifestyle, and I'd make it a couple days and go get pizza, and go get brunch on Sunday morning. Just I could only make it like 36, 48 hours, and boom, you're so hungry, you're just starving. But when you're only getting 6, 7, 800 calories or 900 calories a day,
Yeah.
you're not going to make it.
Yeah, that's why I love how you are called the juice feaster because it's so important to feast. That's why I think when I did
Totally,
37 days, I felt so good because I was just drinking so many calories and so much juice. And then yeah, like you said,
totally,
you can function, you can go to work, like you're doing everything. So it's not as extreme as like a water fast or a dry fast or
totally.
something
And
like
those have
that.
their place too. Those
Yeah.
have their place too. These are, I think the juice feasts are a little more accessible to people, and something that we can control a little more easily on our own with a little bit of assistance. And so I think it's a very valuable tool for us.
And is there a juicer you recommend? And also, if somebody can't afford like a really good juicer, do you think they can just grab like a cheap one off Kijiji from somebody or something like that and still run with the juice cleanse?
Totally. I like to say that the best juicer is the one that you've got on your counter and that you keep
Hmm.
running. And so that can be, a $30 one you get off of Facebook Marketplace used, or it could be the Pure for 2,500 bucks. It's whatever the one that you're going to use every day to make this healthy juice. That's the best one. There are a few that I recommend. As an inexpensive one, I really like the Try Best Shine. If it's on sale, 120 bucks, we'll get you one that has a really good warranty from a great company. I love the Nama J2. It's probably the fastest, most convenient juicer that I've ever trialed. If you're going to do a lot of greens or herbs, hard roots, and fruits, I love the Green Star Pro or the Green Star Elite. And the best of the best is the Pure. That's the all stainless steel 2-stage hydraulic press. So if you're really looking for the best juice yield, the best nutrient enzyme extraction, I recommend the Pure for sure.
Okay, nice, amazing. And do you believe in colonics or enemas on a juice cleanse or no?
I do. I think that the one thing that I caution folks on doing them is that I think sometimes people think of them as a remedy for poor lifestyle behavior. Like, for example, someone binges on pizza or
Hmm.
fast food or chips or junk food, and the next day they're like, "Oh man, I got to do a coffee enema."
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
I think getting into this cycle of binge
Hmm.
cleanse is what I really want people to avoid. I would rather people, honestly, Jillian, eat fruit and salads, low fat, raw vegan salads, and even heck, white rice and sweet potatoes and whole food
Yeah.
plant based and succeed than try a juice cleanse and fail. I would
100%.
rather focus on these long term healthy habits consistently and take some time and get good at that, and then throw in a juice cleanse, go next level, so that's kind of what I recommend.
I
do
agree.
like colonics. I do like colonics and enemas for sure as a therapeutic addition to already healthy lifestyle habits.
Yeah, and for now and then, like in moderation, maybe, or something.
Totally.
And yeah, I was gonna say, like, maybe juice cleansing, right, isn't right for everyone, right? Because maybe for some people, it's just so extreme that it'll spiral them the other way. Like you were saying, like they're better just eating like an abundance of fruits and vegetables rather than taking on that juice cleanse.
Totally.
And who do you think is an ideal candidate for a juice cleanse?
Yeah, I think anyone who's not prone to those roller coaster yo-yo type scenarios, anyone who has a fairly good, self-discipline and ability to stay focused and stay on track and not get into those cycles, I think is a really good candidate. And we can surprise ourselves if historically we haven't been super disciplined. We can turn this around. We're the master of our own destiny. But if you've had a history of not really succeeding at these, programs or protocols, and you've tried 100 of them and not done so well, I would just maybe really focus on just solid, consistent, healthy habits of eating abundant fruit, raw vegan salads, whole food, plant-based, whatever works for you to stay consistent.
100%. And how long did it take you to feel good on your juice cleanse? Because I know before you said you'd only make it like 36 hours, sometimes something like that. So when you did the longer one, do you remember how good it was until you were like, okay, this is really good, I want to keep going?
Yeah, honestly, you get a week, 10 days into it, and you're just bursting with energy. You're doing upside down handstand push-ups on the wall. I mean, it's just incredible what the body can do when you get into that zone of just the vibrant vitality that comes with it. So 7-10 days, and it's different for everyone depending upon where we're at in the journey. If someone has had an incredibly poor lifestyle for a long time, it can take a little longer, and it can be very shocking to the system. So it's a little bit different for everyone, but for me, 7-10 days is where I start to get into the zone for sure.
Nice. And when you did your long-term juice cleanse, the 105 days, was it a spiritual experience for you?
Definitely. I think one of the biggest things that I realized during doing the really long one was kind of the power of meditation and forgiveness and compassion. Originally when I very first started getting into the lifestyle, I thought it was all about the diet, all about just what I bring into my system, and that takes care of everything else. But it's so much more than that. It's your empathy, it's your compassion, it's your kindness to others. It's looking at experiences in the past where you blamed other people for bad situations in your life, and just forgiving people and learning lessons from that. And most of the things that I looked inward during that experience, I realized that of all the bad things that I felt like had happened to me in my life, I was typically the common denominator. I was the one generally that was almost always the one that had caused it. And so when I began to change my perspective, and it really happened during that long juice feast, things really changed for me.
Wow.
So much. Yeah. More than just the juice, just it's cool stuff.
Amazing. That's so well said. I love it. And I feel like that's when your life can really change, when you really start to take responsibility for the things that maybe you're not happy with in your life, or the things that have happened. Like, because essentially we are all creators of our own life, right? And I feel like when you really take responsibility of things like that, then that's when the change really happens, like you said.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's
Amazing.
Profound stuff. It's cool stuff.
Yeah. Amazing. Well, with the juicing, I'm just wondering, I know mucoid plaque is a big topic, and it's a very big topic. Some people think it's real. Some people don't think it's real. Do you think it's real? Do you have any proof it's real? And did you get any out on your cleanse? And could you maybe explain what it is for anybody who doesn't know?
Yeah, I had stuff come out of me that, I know this is TMI when you get into topics like this, but I had stuff come out of me that Lord only knows where it came from, and Lord only knows how long it had been in there. 40 plus years of just eating whatever, whenever, however, takes its toll. I actually, on day 27 of the 105-day feast, I actually had ascaris worms come out.
Wow.
A lot of times on a juice feast, you can't really see much in the bowl because it's just, there's so much coming out of you. But one particular day, I actually saw a worm, and my wife and I are both scientists. We fished the thing out and got online and identified it as ascaris lumbricoides. So whatever you do, don't Google ascaris lumbricoides.
Yeah.
But
and I have to ask, and I'm sorry if this is too much information. I did a parasite cleanse a few years ago, and I got out so many parasites I couldn't believe it. It wasn't while juicing, but it was using enemas just on the parasite cleanse. I don't think too many enemas are a good idea, so I'm not promoting like a lot of enemas. But was it moving? If this is not too much information.
It was part of it. It was like half of it. So I feel like what I was doing was making an environment no longer habitable for them. And so they were dying and coming out of me is what I feel like. I don't know if that's the case or not. In terms of mucoid plaque, I did have these long, kind of ropey looking mucoid like substances that came out of me that were kind of shaped like the intestine, shaped with those kind of, intestine-like shapes, however you want to say it. And whether that's what it is or not, I don't know. What we're doing during a juice cleanse is really allowing the digestive tract to kind of cleanse and purge and get rid of things. And in my opinion, that's what it is. I don't have any scientific proof per se. Yeah. It's purely anecdotal, but I feel like it's a thing.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think I got some out when I was on my 37 days, and it's but everyone, has their own opinions on that, and I respect that.
For sure.
So I'm wondering too, when someone makes juice on a juice cleanse, I know for me, when I make a fresh juice, I like to drink it right away. I feel like it's so electric, and I feel like there's a big difference if I drink it right away versus if I put it in the fridge and drink it the next day, especially with green juice. What are your thoughts on that? How long do you think a juice can last? And is there ways to like extend that shelf life of a juice if people need to like prep for work and things like that?
Yeah, totally. I totally agree with you. Fresh is best. If you can make it, you have the ability to make it and drink it, that's the best way. You're going to get the least amount of oxidation, the least amount of nutrient loss, the least amount of enzyme and phytonutrient loss. That's the best way. But most of us don't have that luxury to be free all the time to do that. And we work and we have families and obligations to attend to. And so storing it is fine, in my opinion. It's totally cool to do that, especially on a juice cleanse. I think it's, you're making and consuming so much that having it around at all times and not getting caught in those situations where you're without, you're hungry, and your mind starts to race a little bit, like, oh, I could just break it. I'm out and about running errands, or I had a flat tire in the car. I should just get some, fast food to tide me over. Like some of those things, those situations happen. So having juice on hand all the time is key. 3 days, I say, is max if you're using a slow masticating style juicer, or 24 hours if you're using a centrifugal style juicer. That's kind of my rule of thumb. You can extend it by freezing it if you want. You can make a ton of juice, say on Sunday, freeze half of it. That'll get you through the end of the week, and consume the other half the first part of the week. Just make sure you leave about an inch headspace in the top of your jars, so that the jars don't break as the liquid expands during freezing. So
okay, good tips. Amazing. Thanks. We're just so honored to have you on today, sharing all this amazingness.
Great to be here.
Yeah. And I'm wondering too, like, you've been in juicing for a while now, and you've seen a lot of people, whether that's through coaching or through selling all your amazing products and things like this that you have to offer. So I'm sure you've had a lot of people DM you or seen directly a lot of stories. So I'm wondering, is there any maybe that stand out right now that you could share that are like, oh, this transformed this person's life in this way through doing juicing or something like that?
Yeah, there's so many. I get so many messages to the effect of, and they're all very much the same, I can't believe how good I feel. I can't believe the energy that I have now. I can't believe how my skin has changed, or my psoriasis has gone away, or my acne's gone away, or my digestive issues have totally improved. Just like, it's limitless the amount of feel-good stories that I get from people every day. It's just incredible. It's
Amazing.
what keeps me rolling, you know, just
Yeah.
I have on my profile, you know, a goal to cleanse, regenerate, and transform 1 million people. But even if it's just one
Hmm.
person feels as good as I feel right now, I feel like I've done my job, you know, because we have so much of this vitality within us. We've just got to get out of our own way and give our bodies a chance. So that's the whole point of this.
I love it. 100%. That's like me with my channel. It's the same thing. It's why I started it because I feel like going raw has changed my life more than anything. And I know if it can do that for me, even if it just does it for one other person out there, literally, I'm just like so happy about that.
Amen. I love it.
Well, with juicing, I'm wondering, do you believe in taking supplements while someone is juicing? Because I know they think like, oh, especially if I go long term, can I go 30 days without all these nutrients? What's the deal? So what do you think about that?
Yeah, I don't really supplement too much, but there are a couple of things that I'm pretty religious about.
Hmm.
One is vitamin B12. I take a weekly sublingual vitamin B12.
Hmm.
I also do vitamin D. Even though I'm in the sunshine state of Florida, I feel
Hmm.
like it's good to supplement with vitamin D and make sure we keep those numbers up.
Uh-huh.
Beyond that, I'll occasionally have some shilajit or some sea moss or some marine phytoplankton. But beyond that, I don't get too crazy with it. I
Okay.
really don't. I feel like the nutrition that we're getting from especially green juices is incredible, and just hitting those key, you know, like B12 and D, I think are important. But beyond that, it's really up to you, I think, to research and find out what's best for you. Probiotic,
Hmm.
I do take a probiotic as well too.
Hmm. Okay. And what do you think about teeth? I know a lot of people say maybe they have some fears about doing a juice cleanse because maybe it can wear on their enamel, or do you believe in drinking a straw or avoiding some things or using a straw? You know what I mean? What do
Yeah,
you think about
yeah,
that?
it can, and really, I don't look at it really any differently from a conventional standard diet. I
Hmm.
think oral hygiene is super important, and there are a few tips that I recommend people to follow. One is drinking with a straw. You know, get a
Hmm.
glass or a stainless steel straw. They're pretty cheap. You can find them really at Target, department stores, or online. Amazon is easy to find them.
Hmm.
Um, then rinsing after every juice. Basically, rinsing your mouth out with water, keeping that the sugars from sitting on your teeth. And this is really the same
Hmm.
for eating solid food. I do the same thing whether I'm eating solid food or having juice. The next is flossing. You know, twice a day minimum, and then also solid brushing. And I love oil pulling as well. I like to oil
Hmm.
pull first thing in the morning, but it doesn't. It's not bad to do it twice a day either. I think those
Hmm.
are really the main things. The other key is if you're brushing throughout the day, which is not a problem, I really like to wait at least like 40 minutes to an hour, half hour to an hour after an acidic juice like, you know, citrus juice or grape juice or pineapple juice or something like that, to allow the enamel to reharden naturally. If we drink a
Hmm.
juice, the enamel is softened, we can brush and it can damage that enamel. So give it a swish with water, give it a chance to reharden, and then do your brushing.
Hmm.
That's all I
Amazing.
do. I don't
Great
have any
tips.
issues.
Great tips. I do the swish with water thing now too. And I think that's especially important if you're ever, I don't believe in consuming a lot of dried fruit, but I think when people consume things like dates or something, it's so important. Like swish with water after floss. Don't brush your teeth like right after you're like brushing the sugars right in and stuff.
Totally. Couldn't agree
Yeah.
with you more.
But
Yeah.
yeah, that's great. You do that after everything you eat. It's just like, I love that. And I love oil pulling too. So I'm wondering if somebody wants to get started on a juice cleanse and they have no idea where to get started. Do you have some tips for like how to get into it, where to go, what to do?
Yeah, I do have a free Juice Feasters protocol. If people want to DM me, send me a message on Instagram. I can set you up with that. I also have some extended guides as well that talk about transitioning on and transitioning off, how to break the fast.
Hmm.
Um, it's, you know, it's really not that terribly complicated, but I just encourage people to work their way into it easily, you know, and gently, and be kind to themselves, and not really try and just, you know, punish themselves and shock themselves. Just be kind to yourself and be gentle.
Hmm. And do you think there's ever like any dangers? I feel like not with the juice cleanse as long as you're drinking a lot. I feel like with water fast or dry fast, I mean, you got to be more careful, right? But what do you think with the juice fast? Or like, is there any dangers, anything anybody needs to worry about? Or
Yeah,
like,
you know, I think I think everybody's a little different. You know, there may be some folks out there that have some pretty severe situations, and I wouldn't want to get specific, with them, and say, hey, this is what you need to do without consulting with them for sure. But I think for the most part, the general population really can't, if they consume enough calories and they're drinking enough water and getting good sleep and paying attention to things, there's really no danger in it. There's still fiber in juice. It's a myth that juices don't have fiber. And I think where that comes from is commercial juices, and commercial juices don't. They've been microfiltered and that's all been taken out. But home pressed juices still have some fiber in it. They still have both insoluble and soluble fiber. Not as much as the whole fruit, of course, or a smoothie, but there's still fiber in there for your microbiome to thrive and nutrient uptake. So there's really nothing to worry about here. As long as you're getting enough calories and staying leveled up, you're good to go.
And how do you think it's changed your life by discovering juicing and doing juice cleanses like this?
Totally transformed it. I changed my career. I moved states, changed my mindset. You name it. I mean, like all aspects of my life. My fitness is consistent and good. My relationships are good. Relationship with my wife is the best it's ever been. It's just like all of these things have leveled up. There's really no part, even with my family, like relationships with my family, there's no part of my life really that hasn't been untouched by it. It's a pretty amazing thing.
Amazing. I'm happy for you. That's amazing.
Thank you.
And where do you think you would be had you not taken this path, like this the juicing and the raw veganism? Where do you think your life would be right now?
I probably wouldn't be doing too well. I haven't really thought about that. That's a great question, but I don't think my trajectory was headed anywhere good. It was not headed anywhere that I would want to be.
Yeah.
If there was, an antithesis of what I am today, that's probably where I would be. The complete opposite. I would certainly be having, health conditions that required medications if I went that route, and, history of heart conditions in my family, which really to me wasn't genetic, but it was a history of poor lifestyle choices. And so I don't think I would have been anywhere where I wanted to be.
Wow. Yeah, I believe it. And you do 34 days. I believe you do about 34-day juice cleanse every year still. So in January, you start the year. This is your annual thing. I love it. Where every January you juice cleanse until your birthday, I think around February 3rd. I'm not a stalker. I just know this. And so I'm wondering, a lot of people will say, well, the raw vegan lifestyle is a cleanse enough, or you already did 105 days. So why do you still do the 34 day?
Yeah, well, I punished myself for a long time, many years, decades, really, of poor lifestyle habits. And so I feel like there's always a potential, especially in a modern world where we're bombarded daily from the air and the water and the food, the media. Sometimes we're driving down the road, we just see things. These are all toxicities that I feel like in a modern world, maybe 200 years ago, if we were only living on fruit and no industrial food or anything like that, we wouldn't necessarily need cleanses like this. But I feel like in a modern world, it's not a bad idea to take a break, give ourselves a rest, and just allow a little bit extra cleansing. I'm not militant about it. I don't think that, it's completely necessary. I think I could be totally fine just living a raw vegan lifestyle, but I want to thrive. I just don't want to survive. I want to thrive. I want to have incredible vitality. And I find it when I go through these additional juice feasts, I feel like I go up a notch. I'm getting older, but I feel like my vitality is going up, so that's why I do it.
And does your wife do this lifestyle too?
She does. She's not completely raw vegan. And she's not as adamant about doing, or not as regular about doing juice feasts as I am, but she has done them and it's awesome. She loves them, but she's not as militant about it as I am, for sure.
Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah.
And what do you think is the best time of year to do juice cleanse? I know when I did mine, it was November, December. And I loved that because I find it hard in the summer months with all the delicious in season foods to like not just eat them. What are your thoughts on
Totally.
that? Do you think any time of year is great or there's a specific time?
Yeah, I really like the fall and winter
Mhm.
myself personally. I love it in the winter and springtime. There's a lot of citrus available, and so I absolutely love to drink a lot of citrus juice. Anytime is fine, but I find particularly at that end of the year, beginning of the year, calendar year, is when a lot of people set intentions for the next year, and so it's a good time to set goals and reflect and hit the reset button. And so I kind of like that time of year. And that's why I do one every year starting on the first for
Oh
sure.
yeah, exactly. Obviously, I
Yeah.
forgot about that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was going to ask too with cravings. Like I know this can be a big thing for people, especially in the beginning. They're like, "Oh, I tried, I just can't make it past day 3 or something like that." Do you have any tips like how you dealt with the cravings to go, over 3 months?
Yeah. Number one is the reason why we get hungry is because we need calories. And so that's why I really like to have, a high number of calories every day, surplus really. And so
Mhm.
if we're hungry, that means our bodies are looking for it. They're used to it. They're probably needing some nutrition, and so I feed it. I feed it. If I get a hunger craving of some sort, I'll smash a liter of grape juice. There's 600
Mhm.
calories just like that,
Mhm.
and not many people after a 600 calorie liter of grape juice are going to be hungry. So number two really is just I think we have this mindset of restriction.
Mhm.
And the number one way to combat cravings is we need to eat. We need to eat or drink
Mhm.
something. We need those calories. So
Mhm.
just stay leveled up on calories. Those cravings go away. The third thing is we crave what we eat. We're used to eating certain things all the time. If we make a switch to all juices, we're still going to crave what we had been most recently eating as solid food. So it's normal to have that kind of thought pattern. Our entire system has been used to eating a certain way, and so it wants more of that. So we just have to be gentle with ourselves, and we're not perfect, but do the best you can, stay leveled up on calories, and you'll avoid those cravings for sure.
Mhm. And I think it could be normal too for people to be a bit bloated in the beginning, right? When they first transition, that happens to me when I do a cleanse. So I know some people might feel discouraged when that happens, but that will pass, right?
Totally. It's just a matter of getting your microbiome adjusted to your new way of life. We have, if we're eating pizza all the time, we've got a microbiome that feeds on pizza. If we're drinking
Mhm.
green juices, we have a microbiome that feeds on green juices. So the more consistent we are with our lifestyle, the easier it gets and the better our bodies function in it for sure.
Mhm. Mhm. Okay, well, let's get to some of the questions. My viewers are
Yeah,
great and they have some
let's
questions
do
for
it.
you. So someone said they tried following someone's juice fast protocol. It wasn't yours, but they said they couldn't cope with controlling their bowels. Sorry to be specific, but how do you cope with that?
Yeah, it can be an issue for sure. And that goes along with the microbiome adjustments. Gosh, it's tough. A lot of the fruits, if you're juicing a lot of fruits like pears and apples and plums and peaches and things like that, dragon
Mhm.
fruit, these things are all very stimulating to the bowels.
Mhm.
Um, and, part of the reason why this is good is because a lot of people don't have great digestion and great bowel movement. So you're moving stuff out of you that needs to come out. So I know as frustrating as it may be, these things are I think good to move out. For me, green juices can be pretty stimulating. So I like to time those at certain times during the day, but also getting in fruit juices like oranges and things like that will kind of balance that out. You really have to find what works for you in terms of the types of
Mhm.
juices that are more or less stimulating to your bowel. So it's
Yeah.
kind of part of it, but sometimes, like your audience member said, there it can be a little frustrating.
Mhm. And do you think people should stop drinking their juice at a certain time of day so that they don't wake up
Yeah,
in the night and have to go to the bathroom?
totally. I like to cut it off. Like my solid food, I like to cut it off kind of early in the evening. And if I'm going to have anything, it'll be herbal tea or water after that. That's another key. I think um, a lot of people that try juice fast don't drink enough water. This water, in
Mhm.
my opinion, is necessary for metabolism, and we're most of us are chronically dehydrated. So we've really got to dig in. These juices are the solvents, in my opinion, and the water of the juices will help rinse it out.
That's a great point. I have heard, I know, because people always ask, do you need to drink water? I think it's important. I've heard you actually like cleanse and detox faster and more when you incorporate the water too, which makes so
I
much
think it's
sense.
key. I think it's
Yeah.
key.
Yeah. Okay. Somebody says, does he know if SIBO can be cured through juicing?
Yeah, I'm not an expert in this, but I
Hmm.
definitely know of people who have fixed it. Jeff Juices, if you're familiar with him, Jeff Brockmeyer, I believe is his last name,
Hmm.
had SIBO and Crohn's and all sorts of issues. And, a lot of people have fixed this. And it comes down to microbiome here again and feeding those gut bacteria and really making sure that you take care of these damaged parts of your intestine. And so that's where the insoluble fiber or soluble fiber in juices really helps. It
Hmm.
really helps soothe your digestive tract and allow the digestive tract to begin healing and get the correct microflora in there and get you off to a good start. I'm not an expert in that,
Hmm.
but definitely people have taken care of the issue for sure.
Yeah. Okay. Well said. And Tina says, she asks, do you usually do more greens or fruit juices? And how often only juice fasting?
Yeah, for me, typically at least once a year for how often. And that's when I like to do the 30 day in January. But I also will smatter in some 3 days here and there throughout the
Hmm.
year, one or two throughout the year just to feel good. And there are days where I'll just go on juice only just because it feels good,
Hmm.
light, lean, limber feeling. First part of the question was.
Does he usually do more greens or fruit?
Yeah. So for me, I typically have more like a third green juices and the rest fruit juice. So I kind of keep that balance of like 1 or 2 liters a day of green juice, and then the rest 3 to 5 liters only. If I'm doing only juice, fruit juices, and that's for
Hmm.
calories. That's for bulk calories.
Amazing. And it's nice to have both. It's nice to have that balance,
Totally.
rotate back and forth, you
Yeah.
know?
Totally.
Okay. Dr. Ace says, what would be the best way to start juicing if someone doesn't own a juicer and is on a budget?
Um,
Are there any that he recommends, yeah, for someone on a budget?
Yeah, if you don't have a juicer, but you have a blender, you can throw some juicing ingredients into a blender and
Hmm.
then strain them out either in a fine mesh strainer or a nut milk bag or something like that. It gets a little messy, it's a little time consuming, and the yield isn't very great. But you can at least begin to start adding some juices in that way.
Hmm.
If you're on a budget and really don't feel like you can spend a ton of money or even any money at all, find someone in your network that has a juicer that they're not using, because they're out there. There's people out there that buy juicers that aren't using them. Ask them if you can borrow it. Do a call out on your social media and say, hey,
Hmm.
anybody have a juicer I can borrow? I recommend people to go to Facebook Marketplace and search in their area. Just type in juicer for sale. And I looked yesterday for someone here in Florida, and there was a $30 Breville juice fountain. It's
Wow.
$150 juicer for $30. So they're out there. Just go to thrift stores. Thrift stores, occasionally people will move and they'll get a juicer for a wedding gift and they don't want it, and they'll take it to the thrift store and donate it. So just look around, keep your eyes peeled, and one will show up. If you're into it and setting your mind to it, a juicer will show up for sure.
Yeah, amazing. Great tips. I love those. And I love your tip about you can juice some things in the blender. That's how I make
Yeah,
watermelon juice. With my watermelon
totally.
juice, you just cut it up, throw it in the blender, blend it with some
Yeah,
mint, and it's juice. It's amazing.
absolutely.
Yeah, okay. And so Dr. Ace also wants to know what are a couple of your favorite juice recipes or that are ideal maybe for somebody starting out?
Yeah, I really like, probably my favorite green juice recipe is the celery cilantro tonic. It's a head of
Mm,
celery. You can do like 4 or 5 apples or 4 or 5 oranges for some sweetness, a couple of cucumbers, a bundle of cilantro, and a few knobs of ginger, like 3 inches of ginger and 3 inches of turmeric. Super easy to make. Ingredients are available pretty much anywhere in the world, no matter where you're at, and packs in a ton of nutrition. Cilantro is such a great detoxifying herb. Ginger and turmeric are anti-inflammatory. You're getting good salts and minerals from the celery and the cucumber, great for your skin. Sweetness from the apples or the oranges. That's one of my favorite all-time juices for sure. Fruit juices, I love pineapple and red raspberry. That's probably my favorite.
That sounds good.
It's a good one.
That sounds good. And somebody said, ask about the bowels, how he kept them moving.
Yeah, it really wasn't a problem for me. As I was incorporating juices, things were moving for me right away. Some people don't have this issue because, they feel like when the fiber stops, then things start moving through, like that conveyor belt stops moving. There are some things that you can do to stimulate it. Rebound is a great thing to do. If you have a mini trampoline, or even just jumping jacks or jump rope, just anything to get your body kind of moving up and down, trunk twisters, anything to move your torso, massages in your abdomen to move things along that way. What I really like to do and advise to people is get some prunes, some dried prunes, and put like 9, 10, 11, even a 12-ounce package of prunes into a jar, soak them overnight with some distilled water or spring water, and shake them up a couple times and really get that thick, sweet prune juice. And you can even buy this commercially if you want to. It's not the best, but it'll do in a pinch. And drink some of that prune juice, and I guarantee things will get moving.
Good tip. You know so much. And Sunset and Herb says, how did he experience any detox symptoms? And if yes, what were they?
Yeah, totally. For me, it was a lot of people will get like headaches or acne or, chills and fever. For me, it was usually like short bouts of fatigue. Midday, I might just have this like overwhelming need to sleep, like just almost like you were going into like a flu type, fever type sleep, need to sleep. I would lay down for like 15, 20 minutes, wake up, usually have a bowel movement after that, and felt great. And I think what was happening, stuff was moving out of me. And as on the way out is the same as it was on the way in. These things, as they're moving out of us, have to go through our organs of elimination. And that brings them kind of back into contact with us again. And so they've been stored away and tucked away and hidden. And they're coming out again to make one final appearance on their way out. So these things can happen for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And the next question is, can juicing help fertility? If so, how to incorporate it?
Yeah, I'm definitely not an expert in that, but I feel like anything that we can do to bring our body back into balance and back into homeostasis is going to bring all aspects of our body back into balance and homeostasis. So if someone has experienced hormonal issues like that, or fertility issues, or anything like that, as we bring our bodies back into a total package of health, these things are only going to get better, in my opinion.
And the next question, Dina says, does he recommend having enemas or colonics? We talked about that, but she wants to know, how often do you recommend during a juice?
Yeah, I feel like everybody's a little bit different here on their opinion on this matter. For me, when I first did my 30-day juice fast, the very first one that I ever did, I did one coffee enema a week. I know others will do, a couple a day. I'm not one to typically recommend that, but I think you have to really feel it out on your own and see what's best for you. I think finding a kind of a balance in your desire to be gung-ho and just go crazy with it to moderation is a good thing to sort out on your own. For me, it's like one a week. And the 105-day juice feast that I did, I don't think I even really did them once a week, maybe like once a month, really, during that time, for sure.
And on the 105 days, did you ever have moments where you really felt like quitting and giving up?
Not really. At that point in my, I guess, evolution of healthy lifestyle, I was pretty committed to it and knew I was on the right track and didn't have any doubts at all. Maybe during the very first 30-day juice feast that I did, there were some moments where I was like, I don't know. I remember one particular time, really busy at work, running a business, had like zero time to make juice. And I went a couple of days on store-bought orange juice. And like if
Wow.
there was any time, not advisable, but it was calories and kept me on liquid only. Not advisable, but
Hmm.
whatever we need to do to keep rolling keeps us going. If there was any time that I thought, thought twice about keeping rolling, it would have been that point for sure. So it
Yeah,
happens, we have to
absolutely.
feel these things out. And I recommend people, if things get crazy enough in their life that it's just a super challenge to stay on a fast, just, it's a marathon, not a sprint. Take a break, eat some fruit, ease back on the solid food. You can jump back in this again. Do it when it's right for you and right for your universe. Don't force these things. I think
Hmm.
forcing them is where a lot of people can get into some problems, is really forcing the issue. So I just recommend people be gentle to themselves and feel it out as they go.
And I love your outlook like that. I love that perspective and your opinion on everything. And I'm wondering what made you choose to do 105 days? Like, how can somebody decide how long they maybe need or how long they should go?
Yeah, for me, I wanted to do at least 3 months. So, 90-ish days. And so when we finally had sold our business and I had some free time to be able to kind of start out on this new lifestyle, I picked a time where I was able to start. And I kind of looked at the calendar and looked forward. It was in mid-October of that particular year. I looked forward at the calendar, and my birthday, my 47th birthday, was February 3rd. So I thought, well, let's count the days. And it ended up being 105 days. So I ultimately wanted to go 3 months,
Hmm.
but I just bumped it out to make a fun finish on my birthday there.
Yeah, that's awesome. And do you think people have to be careful, like how they break it and like with the refeeding they do after doing a long-term juice cleanse like that? Like maybe it's not ideal, right? To jump into a salad if you were on, the day after you break it or something.
Yeah, it's almost more important what you do to break the feast than it is what you do when you're on the feast. Um, I recommend, taking a week of just kind of getting back, keeping the juices all the same, but just incorporating some really juicy fruit just a little bit, like
Hmm.
melon or cucumbers or soaked prunes, soaked dried fruits, things that are really juicy, really high water content. For me, cucumbers is usually the first thing. If there's anything that I miss really during a juice feast, it's that crunch of a fresh, crisp cucumber. And so usually cucumbers are a big part of what I use to kind of ease back into my life. Um,
Yeah.
some mild sprouts I think can be nice, easing these things in. But
Yeah.
you don't want to go right back into cooked food right away. You don't want to jump back into going out for dinner at a vegan restaurant or something
Hmm.
like that. It can be really shocking to your system, just as shocking as a standard American diet, to kind of jump back right back into these things. You got to give your body some grace and time to ease back into it.
Mhm, mhm, 100%. And the next fear is that I was wondering also, Goji Man says, I'm not sure who Goji Man is, but maybe you know, that long juice fasting can potentially eliminate good bacteria after these long fasts, which are necessary for the breakdown of plant matter once the foods are reintroduced. Veggie Police, and then someone else seem to have had that issue. Shane Sterling said it took 2 years for his digestion to work to maximum efficiency after his reintroduction of plant matter too. Wondering if he or yourself have any ideas how to navigate the reintroduction of foods to ensure minimal complications. Well, we did just talk about a bit about reintroducing the foods. Is it simply a matter of slow and steady reintroduction of foods that contain necessary good bacteria once the colon is cleansed?
Yeah, and I think one thing I will point out about, like, I don't pay super close attention to a lot of the influencers out there,
Yeah.
but one thing I have noticed about, I think it's Veggie Police. I've
Yeah.
seen this guy be carnivore. I've seen him
Yeah.
be whole food plant
Casey.
based. I've
Yeah.
seen him do keto. I've seen him do snake juice. In like a matter of like 3 years, this guy's done so many different things that his digestive system has to be so messed up from these roller coaster ups and downs. It's no wonder his system doesn't work. And so I think a lot of times we have to really pay attention to this in a larger perspective. of consistent long-term healthy habits.
Mhm.
And the idea that your gut bacteria are messed up from being on a long-term juice feast is from the perspective that there isn't soluble or insoluble fiber in juices, and it's just not true. Home pressed juices are not commercial juices. There is still fiber in them. Granted, not as much as a smoothie, but there's still plenty of fiber in there for your system to continue and do well. I think a lot of these guys, if you were to look at what they maybe did, I don't know this, but if you were to look at what they consumed on a juice fast, they probably weren't juicing enough. They probably weren't consuming enough calories. I don't know. That throws your hormones out of whack. It alters a lot of your metabolic pathways and functions. So it's my guess that there were other variables involved with these folks that had problems long term. A lot of ups and downs and trying different fads and getting views on social media versus
what though? I gotta say, no matter what the vegetable police does, he always has me laughing. Like, I actually think Casey is so funny. He cracks me up. But yeah, I know what you mean about the different diets and stuff. I think he's so funny. I really love him. I think he's so funny.
Definitely entertaining. And I think we have to separate the entertainment value from real life.
Yeah, I guess.
He's funny. He's funny for sure.
He really is. And I'm wondering, okay, so this last question says, does he know anyone who cured varicose veins issues with juicing or with raw vegan? I think I have heard of people doing that, but not that I recall like exactly on my channel or something.
Yeah, I don't have any direct people who have directly come to me and mentioned this, but circulation is one of those things that can be dramatically improved with a healthy lifestyle and fitness. It's more than just our dietary intake. Fitness and movement, cold exposure is really good for getting those valves in our veins to open and close, and exercise them as part of our cardiovascular and our circulatory system. And so eliminating animal products also helps strengthen these walls and eliminate plaquing and things in our blood vessels. So I think as a whole package, the raw food lifestyle and juicing is just a great way to, tackle issues like that for sure.
Absolutely. Well, Brett, thanks so much. It's been so awesome having you on. I'm just wondering if you have any closing words, maybe some inspiration for someone out there who's about to start one or plan one, or any thoughts that come to mind. And then again, remind us where everybody can find you.
Cool. Yeah. Well, first of all, thank you, Jillian, for inviting me on to your show. I really appreciate what you're doing, spreading the message and helping so many people. I applaud you for that, and I appreciate the opportunity to be on your show. I guess as a parting statement, I just like to say, keep it simple, focus on the long-term healthy habits. It's more than just juice. It's sleep, it's relationships, it's stress, it's eliminating all the negativity, it's grounding, it's cold exposure, it's all these things that we can put together with juicing that can really help our long-term vitality. So keep it simple. Don't get too crazy right out of the chute. Be kind to yourself, be gentle. It's a marathon, not a sprint. So those are probably my words of wisdom there. As to where people can find me, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, all under the Juice Feaster name, but also my website, Juicer Test Kitchen, which is where I have I'm beginning to put up juicer reviews and tips and tricks and techniques for people getting into the world of juicing. So juicertestkitchen.com.
Okay, awesome. Well, this has been great, and we hope to have you back in the future as well.
Awesome. Thank you. I'd love to.
Yeah. And to the viewers, I hope you guys love this. If you did, give it a big thumbs up right now, and make sure you guys subscribe if you don't already, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.